Hello everyone out there, and thank you for clicking on this video. I am so excited for spring, and today I wanted to bring it a little bit closer because I'm just so excited for it when everything is going to be blooming and it's going to be green outside. And I don't know if you can see behind me, but that's not how it is right now. There's a lot of snow. I think it's minus like 5 degrees outside. So in an attempt to try and bring spring a little closer in this last month of winter, I have decided to make some lemon muffins today, and I will be topping those with some raspberry buttercream and a bit of pistachio. I hope that in the end I will be able to decorate them like flowers with the buttercream and the pistachios, to kind of simulate some blooming and some colors coming out again after a long winter. But most of all, I just really hope they're going to taste good. So I think we should just get started on the dough first. So first I just went on and turned on the oven, which needs to be 175 degrees Celsius. Okay, perfect. So the first thing in this recipe is going to be whipping the butter and the sugar. I have just let the butter sit out for a little bit because we're using softened butter for the dough and also for the buttercream. Go ahead and weigh out 80 grams of softened butter. And then for the sugar, we're going to do 120 grams of sugar. Perfect. Then we'll just be whipping that until it is a nice consistency.
Now this is a great time to tell you that if you're enjoying this video, you can go ahead and like it and also subscribe to my channel. You can also find me over on Instagram, which is shown right here on screen.
Perfect. Now it's kind of like this, just no clumps of sugar or like big lumps of butter. So I think we're ready for the next step. So next up is adding in the eggs one by one. We're going to be adding 2 eggs for this. So we'll just start by adding the first one. And then mixing that in until it's well combined.
With a new, different wind, I'm gonna let it take me to people that will trust me. I've been stuck inside my house too long.
Now I think it should be good. Now we won't be needing this anymore for the batter. Next we'll be sifting some flour and some baking powder. Don't have any baking powder, so I'm just using baking soda, but because we're adding lemon, I think that should activate it. So I think it will be fine. But if you have baking powder, that is what the recipe actually says. We'll be adding 170 grams of flour. It's fine. It'll just be a little bit thicker. 2 teaspoons of vanilla and 1.5 teaspoon of the baking powder. I don't know if you need more if you're using baking soda like me. I think I'll just also add 2 just to be on the safe side, then we can see how that turns out. Then we'll just take our scraper here and kind of turn this into a dough somehow. It will be probably a little bit thick right now, but we're going to be adding some milk and also some lemon juice and also some peel from a lemon to give it the lemon flavor. So then it will become more liquid again, so you can actually put them into the muffin tins. And because we're going to be using some of the peel of the lemon, it's important to use organic lemons. Now we'll just put this to the side and get started on the lemons. We'll just be using 1 lemon. Let's see if I can open this like that. Perfect. Like that. I think I got off as much of the peel that I can. So now I can just put this to the side and start juicing the lemon. Perfect. Now we're ready to add in the last couple of ingredients. That would be 1.5 deciliters of milk, and then the juice and the peel from the 1 lemon. So 1.5 juice.
Wasting hours on my phone. I'm ready to go.
And I'll just slowly, to not spill this anywhere, try and incorporate this into the dough.
It's here to stay.
I think I got all of the lumps out of it, so it's now just a smooth batter. I think the small lumps that you can see is just the lemon peel. So I will find my muffin tins and line those with some cupcake forms. The recipe says this makes 10. I feel like there's a bit more dough than that, so I just have 12 here, and then hopefully it will fit in these. I think it might just fit perfectly into these 12, so that would be nice. Perfect, now these are ready to go in the oven, and then we can get started on the buttercream. Now the cakes are in, and they're going to be baking for about 20 minutes, and while they do that I will just clean up a little bit, and then we start on making the buttercream. Perfect. Now for the buttercream, I do have some colors over here, some pink and some red, but I'm really hoping that I can just use these dried raspberries to color it with, and obviously also give it some taste. So I will just start by blending some of it to make it into a powder, so it will be easier for the buttercream to absorb the flavor and the colors. Now, I don't know how much to use of this. I'm hoping to make 3 colors of pink and then make it so that it looks like, or like the flower petals are getting lighter. Hopefully when I put it into the piping bag it will make sense. Perfect, that should be enough. I feel like there's going to come a pink cloud of dust when I open this. Holy moles. I think that should be fine. I will just keep it in here for now, and then we can start on making the buttercream. Okay, so the buttercream is just equal parts butter and powdered sugar, so I think we got 120 grams left of this, and I think I'm just gonna use that and then the same amount of powdered sugar. We'll just whip it until it becomes a nice buttercream texture. Okay, so I think I was supposed to whip the butter before adding the powdered sugar. I hope I can still use this. I will just try and keep whipping it. But I think I might want to make a little bit more buttercream if I'm going to have enough for all the cakes. So I will just do that. And that's the timer for the muffins, so I will just go check on those. Look at these, they look absolutely amazing. So I will just put them over on the table and let them cool off. Perfect, now we can continue on the buttercream. Oh my god, this is so difficult. Now we got our buttercream ready, and I will just go ahead and split this into 3 and then we can start coloring it.
My microphone is apparently not a big fan of my transition skills because it decided to stop working here. But what I'm doing is just mixing in the raspberry powder that I had made earlier. I ended up needing a lot more than I realized because it's not very pigmented. But in the end the color turned out really nice and it also looked very natural. So I'm really glad that I was able to use the raspberry powder and didn't have to substitute with any food coloring.
At the end of the world, there's something I can learn. Some good ideas will pop up with a new, different wind. I'm gonna let it take me to people that will trust me. I've been stuck inside my house too long. Can't stand being all alone. Wasting hours on my phone. I'm ready to go now.
Here you can see all 3 colors. I think they turned out super nice, and also because of the raspberry they turned out very natural looking, so later they would go on to look very flower-like. Here I'm just chopping up some pistachios. I did just like a rough chop where they weren't like super fine, but you can, depending on what kind of look you want to give it, you can decide on how much you want to chop them. And here are the cupcakes. Somehow they got stuck to the muffin tin. I don't really know how that happened, but with a bit of editing magic it will look like it just took a couple of smacks on the muffin tin to get them out, even though in reality it took a lot longer than I would like to admit. I just popped those in the fridge so that they would cool all the way down for the buttercream, and then I got started on layering the buttercream. I had seen this technique on Instagram, I believe, where you kind of put them side by side, as you can see here with the colors, and then it would get this ombre effect, which I was really hoping for in the petals. And I was just kind of freestyling it, trying as I went along, and I think it ended up looking very nice. Once the cupcakes were cold, I went ahead and prepared the piping bag and put in the buttercream, and then I began piping the flower petals. I did 2 rings with 4 petals on each, and it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing here, so I will be linking the video in the description below where I found this technique. Also, I think because of the saran wrap that the buttercream was in, and then plus the piping bag, it was really hard to get the buttercream out, which is why I'm shaking and you can see my fists are like turning red, because it was genuinely a workout to get it out, but in the end it ended up fine. And also, as I made more, the buttercream started to warm up a little bit, and so it got a lot easier.
Will pop up with a new, different wind. I'm gonna let it take me.
Once I was done piping the buttercream, I went ahead and put a bit of pistachios in the middle, and then the first cupcake was done. And I just repeated the same technique for all of the cupcakes, and then I was done.
Here to stay. All of my dreams, and now a step away.
Here I'm probably just talking about how proud I am of these cupcakes, which I also genuinely am. I think they turned out super good, and they were also fairly easy to make, so definitely you should make them if you're also needing a bit of color in your life. Even though I believe these cupcakes turned out stunning, taste-wise they were just okay. The buttercream with the raspberry and the pistachio was really nice, but the cakes themselves could have probably used a little less time in the oven and perhaps a little bit of salt to bring out the flavors. But yeah, they were fine, and I'm really proud of how they turned out. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. I hope that means you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and like this video and also subscribe to my channel. You can also find me over on Instagram, which you can see right here on screen. If you would like to see how I made the cake that is also shown on screen, you can go to my channel and watch my other video. Again, thank you so much for watching. Happy spring, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!